Do you realize? The doors that once welcomed hundreds of customers each day are now quietly closing. No announcements, no goodbyes. One ordinary morning, you visit your familiar store, and instead of bright lights, you're met with a cold white sign, permanently closed. The troubling part? You had no idea it was coming until it was too late. Amid tightening budgets, relentless inflation, and rapidly shifting consumer habits, many long-standing brands are fading from the market. Customer loyalty isn't enough to save them. Low prices no longer provide a competitive edge. So, before another beloved retail chain says farewell, let's take a look at 10 major U.S. retail corporations on the brink of vanishing in the coming weeks. Which name will surprise you the most? And what is truly pushing the U.S. retail industry to the edge of crisis? Comment 1 if you're interested in this topic, and don't forget to subscribe and like to support us. Number 9. Party City. No one grows up in America without stepping into a party city. It's where you find Elsa-shaped balloons, birthday hats with your child's age, and funny Halloween costumes your husband once tried on. Party City is the store of laughter, of moments when there's a reason to be happy, even if not everyone throws lavish parties. But just stopping by a Party City and grabbing some glitter and a few colorful paper cups, you feel like you've done enough to make someone smile. And now, that smile is fading. After filing for bankruptcy in 2023, Party City entered 2025 with a long list of closures, with over 700 stores liquidated or sold off. Locations in small shopping centers and modest residential areas, once bustling during every holiday season, are now left with empty shelves, deflated balloons, and signs reading, "Everything must go." The reason? It's not just the aftermath of the pandemic. It's because even joy has become something people must reconsider. As the cost of living rises, people no longer spend $30 to decorate a home birthday party. With e-commerce dominating, customers buy party supplies on Amazon, cheaper and delivered to their door. And with inflation dragging into its third year, many American families are forced to skip small but meaningful celebrations. Party City doesn't just sell decorations. They sell moments. Moments like the whole family blowing up balloons for a child. Moments when friends gather one last time before a kid heads to college. Moments when parents throw a Halloween party, even if it's just for 2 kids and the family dog. Now, as Party City stores vanish, it's not just the end of a brand. It's a warning that joy, even the smallest kind, is slipping away from the lives of working-class families. And if even a small party becomes a luxury, what's left of America besides bills, responsibilities, and silence? These retail chains don't just sell products. They once sold a sense of security, comfort, and even pieces of familiar memories. Number 8. Kohls. Some places don't need flashy signs or loud advertising campaigns. Yet, they remain an essential part of American life. Almost like a fixture, Kohls is one of them. With over 150 stores nationwide, Kohls was a go-to destination for families seeking a balance between quality and affordability. From a little girl's pajamas to a dress shirt for a first job interview, Kohls has been there for millions of Americans through every stage of life. But 2025 marks a sad turning point for this retail chain. Kohls announced plans to close 27 underperforming stores across 15 states, including California, Texas, Ohio, and Pennsylvania, in April 2025. This move is part of a broader restructuring strategy to ensure sustainable growth in the future. The root cause lies in changing consumer behavior and increasing competition from e-commerce. Kohls reported a 72% drop in sales for the 2024 fiscal year, down to $54 billion. Net profit also plummeted, reaching only $48 million compared to $186 million the previous year. These closures are not just statistics. They are an emotional and communal loss. In many small towns, Kohls wasn't just a place to shop. It was a place to meet, to build memories. Its absence leaves a void that's hard to fill in the hearts of residents. As the retail landscape continues to evolve, the question remains, can we preserve traditional values and emotional connections when everything is shifting to the digital world? Number 7. Dennys. There's a type of restaurant you don't visit for trendiness or a signature dish. You go because the lights are always on. It's always open. There's always a hot cup of coffee, a corner booth for 3 old friends, or a late-night meal for a night shift worker at 3 a.m. That's Dennys. Not fancy, but so familiar you almost forget it exists until it's gone. In 2025, Dennys is quietly scaling back. In less than 12 months, over 178 locations have closed, mainly in middle-income residential areas that once relied on affordable 24/7 dining. And according to insider sources, the closures may not stop there. But it's not just about sales. Dennys represents a way of life. Late dinners after work, meeting friends after a local concert, or simply sitting alone with a plate of pancakes with no one rushing you out. Yet that way of life is fading. Gen Z prefers ordering food through apps over going out. Those who once visited Dennys every Saturday morning are now worried about gas prices, utility bills, and mortgage interest rates. A $12 breakfast combo no longer feels affordable when you're counting every dollar in your monthly budget. Even Dennys itself is struggling. They've launched promotional menus, buy one get one deals, and expanded into digital ordering, but nothing is working well. Every effort to retain loyal customers feels like trying to hold on to an old habit in a world that has changed. And the saddest part is that the Dennys in small towns, once rare beacons in America's quiet nights, are the first to close. No more warm yellow lights, no more gentle clinking of plates at midnight, no more place to escape in the midst of a life moving too fast. When Dennys disappears, America doesn't just lose a restaurant. It loses a place that made you feel, no matter how late it was, someone was always there waiting for you. Number 6. Liberated Brands. Liberated Brands may sound unfamiliar to many, but for young people who love surf and street style, it's a symbol of freedom, of endless summers with Quicksilver, Billabong, Volcom, and Roxy. However, today, Liberated Brands has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy and announced the closure of all 122 of its retail stores across the United States, including those carrying iconic brands like Quicksilver, Billabong, Volcom, and Roxy. The root cause isn't just fierce competition from fast fashion giants like Shein and Temu. It's also a shift in consumer behavior, where shoppers prefer buying online, prioritizing low prices and fast delivery. Back in 2022, Liberated Brands generated $422 million in revenue. But by 2024, its earnings before interest and taxes dropped to a loss of $12.5 million. The company also carries a $226 million debt and lost distribution rights for major brands due to unpaid licensing fees. These store closures are not just an economic event. They are a cultural and emotional loss. These stores were once gathering spots for young people, where they discovered a free-spirited lifestyle. Now, they are merely memories. The collapse of Liberated Brands is a stark reminder that in today's business world, failing to adapt to trends and technology can have severe consequences. It also raises a bigger question. Are we losing unique cultural values and lifestyles in the relentless pursuit of convenience and low prices? Number 5. Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree isn't where you show off designer brands. It's where you survive on an 89-cent can of beans, the cheapest dish soap on the market, a pack of instant noodles for a late-month dinner. For millions of Americans, especially those scraping by on minimum wage or government assistance, Dollar Tree isn't just a store. It's a lifeline when your world is falling apart. And now, that lifeline is fraying, thread by thread. In early 2025, Dollar Tree announced plans to close nearly 1,000 stores, about 600 Family Dollar locations, and over 300 underperforming Dollar Tree stores. According to financial reports, the chain posted a net loss of over $7 billion in 2024, driven by rising operating costs, natural disaster damages at distribution centers, and shifting consumer behavior. But for those who rely on it, those numbers are just the tip of the iceberg. What they see is this. The only store in their neighborhood selling affordable baby diapers is gone. The only place they ever bought cold medicine for under $2. The empty shelves and the comfort of walking into a store, knowing they could feed their family for a week with just 20. It's now just a memory. People used to mock Dollar Tree for being cheap. But anyone who's faced the end of the month with a nearly empty EBT card and a few crumpled bills in their wallet knows the true value of every item there. When you live in a rural area where the nearest Walmart is a 45-minute drive, but Family Dollar is just down the street, a sign reading, "This store is permanently closed," isn't just news. It's a blow to your meals, your budget, and your daily life. Perhaps the scariest part is this. Dollar Tree once represented the hope that you could be poor but still have the power to buy. But if even that place can't survive, where will America's poorest turn next? Number 5. J.C. Penney. Some places are the heart of a community, where you meet neighbors, try on a new outfit for the holidays, or just stroll through warmly lit aisles. J.C. Penney, with over a century of history, is such an icon. But in 2025, J.C. Penney continues its slow decline, closing 8 more stores nationwide, including locations in Maryland, New Hampshire, West Virginia, Kansas, Colorado, California, Idaho, and North Carolina. This is part of a restructuring effort after merging with Spark Group to form Catalyst Brands in January 2025. These closures aren't just economic events. They're social and emotional losses. At Charleston Town Center in West Virginia, J.C. Penney was the last remaining department store, and its closure marks the end of an era for a once bustling mall. Sales plummeted from $14 billion a decade ago to just $7 billion in 2024, reflecting shifting consumer habits and fierce competition from e-commerce. Despite efforts to reinvent itself and partner with other brands, J.C. Penney is struggling to keep its physical stores alive. For countless Americans, J.C. Penney isn't just a store, it's a bank of memories. The first dress you bought, the suit for that make-or-break job interview, the holiday gifts that lit up someone's face. Losing these stores means losing a piece of memory, a piece of community. As the retail landscape keeps changing, the question lingers. Can we hold on to these values and memories in a world racing toward the digital? Comment the number 5 if you've ever stepped into a J.C. Penney store and felt a pang of regret hearing this news. Number 4. GameStop. No one says, "I grew up at GameStop," but for countless Americans, it's where they came of age. Not a noisy supermarket, not a sterile e-commerce site, but a cozy store smelling of freshly opened plastic, with soft video game music and kids pressing their faces against glass cases, eyes wide at PS4, Xbox, or Nintendo treasures. GameStop doesn't just sell games, it sells feelings. It's where you traded in an old disc for a few bucks off a hot new title, where you argued with staff about whether Elden Ring outshines God of War, where even kids from struggling families felt like they stepped into paradise. Now, that paradise is running out of lives. In 2025 alone, GameStop closed over 400 stores nationwide, the highest in its history, according to recent financial reports. Familiar locations in small malls and suburban strip centers, where gamers flocked after school or work, are now just dusty windows plastered with "for lease" signs. Why? Because the world doesn't buy games like it used to. Digital downloads account for over 90% of U.S. game sales, per NPD Group data. A few clicks, and your game is ready. No lines, no boxes, no GameStop. They tried pivoting to direct sales, pushing accessories, and stocking Funko Pops, but it was too late. GameStop couldn't outrun the digital wave. And here's the real punch. The fans who saved GameStop during the 2021 stock market frenzy couldn't save it, or themselves. Now, crushed by inflation, unemployment, and a long list of priorities that don't include expensive games. GameStop isn't dying for lack of customers. It's dying because nostalgia can't pay the rent. If you've ever stood in front of that glass case clutching a game box, eyes sparkling as you waited for your dad's nod, GameStop's death isn't just the end of a retail chain. It's a goodbye to a piece of youth you can't download again. Number 3. Rite Aid. Some places you never imagined could vanish until they're gone. Rite Aid. With over 60 years serving communities, it's been a trusted haven for millions of Americans needing prescription drugs, vitamins, or just quick advice from a familiar pharmacist. But in May 2025, Rite Aid filed for bankruptcy for the second time in 2 years, announcing it will close or sell all 240 remaining stores across 15 states. In New York alone, all 178 locations will shut down by June, leaving thousands of employees jobless. The collapse comes from a perfect storm: plummeting sales, fierce competition from giants like CVS and Walgreens, and a shift to online shopping. On top of that, Rite Aid is drowning in nearly $4 billion in debt, fueled by thousands of lawsuits tied to its role in the opioid crisis. The impact goes beyond thousands of lost jobs. It's a gut punch to rural and low-income communities, where Rite Aid was often the only pharmacy for miles. Losing a local pharmacy means residents must travel farther for medications, costing time and money, or worse, risking their health if they can't access care in time. In its final weeks, Rite Aid launched liquidation sales to clear inventory, but no discount can ease the pain for loyal customers. Many came not just to shop, but to say goodbye to a piece of their past. Rite Aid's departure is a stark reminder that even the most enduring icons can't survive without adapting to the times. It's a wake-up call for the U.S. retail industry. When we lose places like Rite Aid, we don't just lose a store, we lose a piece of our soul. Number 2, Macys. If there's one place that ever made you feel like you truly belonged in America, it's probably Macys. Not because it's cheap, but because of the atmosphere of stepping into a luxurious space, even if you only had a few dollars in your pocket. The store where you bought your daughter's first prom dress, where you picked out a wedding tie, or where you just stopped to admire those dazzling Christmas displays. Macys is the middle-class dream wrapped up in every aisle. But that dream is quietly closing its doors, literally. In early 2025, Macys announced it would shutter another 150 underperforming stores, after already shrinking to about 500 locations nationwide. Even decades-old flagship stores are on the chopping block. Stores that were once the heart of malls are turning into empty spaces. Why? Not because Macys played poorly. It's because they no longer fit the times. The rise of e-commerce has Gen Z avoiding traditional stores. Flashy newcomers like Shein, Amazon, and even Target have snatched loyal customers with dirt-cheap prices, lightning-fast delivery, and savvy marketing. Macys clung to its old playbook: big stores, big costs, and an outdated belief that customers would return for the experience. Spoiler, they didn't. Macys' first quarter sales in 2025 dropped nearly 7% from the previous year. Its stock price tanked. Leadership had no choice but to scale back to survive. But survival doesn't mean painless. Every Macys that vanishes means hundreds of jobs lost. A mall loses its draw. A small community loses its familiar shopping spot. A place where every walk of life could step inside without feeling out of place. You may never have shopped at Macys, but you've probably passed by one. And if that name fades from view, a piece of ordinary America fades with it. Because Macys isn't just a store, it's a feeling, a symbol melting away, quietly but profoundly. Number 1, Joanne Fabrics. For countless Americans, Joanne isn't just a fabric store. It's where handmade wedding dresses were born, where heirloom quilts were stitched, where crafts for grandkids were created. For 82 years, Joanne has been a cornerstone for seamstresses, homemakers, and hobbyists. But in January 2025, Joanne filed for bankruptcy for the second time in a year. By February, the company announced it would close all 800 of its remaining stores across 49 states. This isn't just the end of a retail chain. It's the final chapter for a creative community that thrived for decades. The collapse stems from a brutal mix: sluggish sales, fierce competition from rivals like Michaels and Hobby Lobby, and a consumer shift toward online shopping. Despite efforts to cut debt and restructure, Joanne couldn't secure new investors and was forced to liquidate its assets. The fallout isn't just 19,000 employees losing jobs. It's a punch to the crafting community nationwide. Many say Joanne was where they discovered their passion, found relaxation, and bonded with kindred spirits. Its disappearance means losing a creative haven, a place to learn and inspire. In its final weeks, Joanne launched liquidation sales with up to 80% off to clear inventory. But no discount can soothe the pain for loyal customers. Many flock to stores not just to shop, but to say goodbye to a piece of their memories. Joanne's departure is a stark reminder that even the most enduring icons can't survive without adapting to the times. It's a wake-up call for the U.S. retail industry. When we lose places like Joanne, we don't just lose a store, we lose a piece of our soul. But in an America changing too fast, what's left that's certain? If even the places that were always there are vanishing one by one, what do we, ordinary consumers, hold on to maintain our familiar way of life?